What if I told you you could increase your grades without spending your life cramming? Most students think higher grades mean longer study sessions, but that's backwards. The truth is, students are getting top marks are actually studying less. They've just figured out how to study smarter. And in this video, I'm going to show you exactly how you can do that. Stay with me because the breakthrough happens when you understand how to plan your revision properly. Here's your first point. The revision system works on 3 layers, not just randomly studying. The first layer is looking at what you actually need to know. Map it all out. The second thing to do is to spread that study out over time. And the third layer is testing yourself lots before you get to the actual exam. Students who skip any of those are the ones that tend to panic. Here's what you do. Take every subject you're studying and write down every topic, chapter, and concept you need to know. You may actually find there are checklists out there already, but just make sure that it does cover everything you need to know. Don't study it all, just make sure that you've got the list. Okay? It's going to save you weeks of wasted time because now you know exactly what you're aiming for. Most students start studying without knowing what they need to study. They open a textbook, kind of wave a finger around, pick a page, and hope that something sticks. That's trying to hit a target with your eyes closed. Here's point 2. Cramming fails because your brain just doesn't store information that way. Your brain stores information because it's repeated over time. One 8-hour intense study session does almost nothing compared to 8 one-hour study sessions over 2 weeks. It changes everything. So, create a revision calendar, mark your exam dates, and work backwards. Divide your revision into chunks and spread them across those weeks and not just days. If you have 30 topics to cover and 8 weeks to the exam, that's roughly 4 topics per week. And it's manageable. It's definitely not overwhelming. So here's where students make a critical mistake with spacing. And we're going to cover it in the next point. Point 3, reading your notes over and over is one of the worst ways to study. It feels productive because you're busy, but your brain isn't storing anything. Active recall, testing yourself, is what actually works. You need to retrieve the information from long-term memory, not just recognize it on a page. For every topic you study, create some practice questions. Answer them without looking at your notes. If you get them wrong, then that's actually a good thing. It's showing you where you need to practice, where you still need to do some learning. If you do this once a week for each topic, by exam time, you will have tested yourself dozens of times, and the exam won't surprise you. Your brain doesn't care if you feel like you're learning. It only cares if you're retrieving the data, retrieving your knowledge. If you're not testing yourself, you're not really studying. Here's point number 4. Having a good system means nothing if you don't actually use it. The students who succeed treat revision like an appointment, not a suggestion. They show up at the same time when they said they're going to. And small, consistent sessions beat huge, chaotic ones just before the exam. So pick a time and a place for your revision. If it's helpful, make it the same time every day. Start with just 30 to 45 minutes. That's enough to make progress without burning out. Put it in your calendar and treat it like a class that you can't skip. Here's another thought with that. What time of day do you have the most energy? I am not a morning person. Struggle to get me out of bed sometimes. So I will not schedule my intense work for first thing in the morning. I'm going to leave it for a little bit later in the day. The time of day when you have the most energy, that's when you should schedule your hardest revision. If you're a morning person, study then. If you're sharp at night, keep the complicated stuff for later in the day. Here's point 5 then. 3 big mistakes destroy all of those revision plans. First, Stop trying to study everything at once. Second, studying without testing yourselves. And third, waiting until 3 weeks before the exam to start. If you avoid these three, then you've got a good chance. Start your revision planning right now. Don't wait. Even if your MAT exam is months or even years away, look at the list of topics and what you are struggling with, create your revision calendar, find your time to do the revision, and if you start early, the panic reduces. Every week you start earlier is a week you don't have to cram. Early starts aren't being about perfect, certainly not if you've got months to go. They're about being calm. So, have a look, see if you can find some templates and start planning your revision today. I'd love to know in the comments which of these points hits home for you. Are you struggling with spacing, active recall, or building a habit? Comment below and let me know. I promise I will read every comment and might even feature your questions in future videos. If you find it helpful, subscribe to the channel and get the notifications. I'm going to be releasing study strategies and advice on all my social media platforms every week to help you pass your exams without that panic. You don't have to choose between having grades and having a life. You just need to plan your revision wisely. That's the whole game.